Yes. No, that's fine though, isn't it? That's sound, isn't it? That's good. It's both the joint and fixed to the frame. Did I explain myself properly then?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you just try and help me out now?
Yeah.
That was a weird touch, that
An
was.
old.
Roll back replay on that.
If everything I dreamt of was true.
That's full on flirting.
So one other feature I want to talk about.
And then we need to absolute tank it. Welcome back to another video.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking you through how we like to do our architraves. Now we've got a job that we're doing here. We're doing all the different skirting architraves throughout the house. We're going to be changing the architraves. We're going to be doing the skirtings, which will be brought to you in another video. And in this episode, we're going to be highlighting this lovely Taurus 94mm architrave from the guys at Sam Mouldings.
Now it's slightly bigger than usual, however this is what the client wanted, and for an added bonus, when we come to take off the old, we haven't really got to do any plaster repairs, just as long as we take it off nice and gently.
Nice and carefully, because this stuff's probably been here for about 80 or 90 years, so getting it off's never easy. Sometimes you do wreck the plaster, but because the client has opted to upgrade it to a 94mm, it should cover any repairs that we need.
Job number one, take off the door, remove all your objects around you, and we'll get on with the rip out.
Do
you want a hand of it?
I've got it.
I'll grab the heavy stuff then. What's in this? Bricks?
Kids' toys, Sam.
Right, now we've got a clean canvas to work from. Obviously we're going to be doing the skirtings. That'll be in the next video. So first of all, we'll strip out the arches, try and do as little as plaster damage as we possibly can. But again, like we said previously, the architraves that are going in are actually a lot wider than the original. Now I like to start from the bottom. At least we know what we're working with. As expected, hasn't moved. So far, I don't want to jinx myself, so good. And the joint isn't too clever, so one quick tug. Something very, very satisfying about this. Mate, that is the top of me.
So you test it for snails, isn't it?
That is dangerous. You've gone up to an 18 gauge.
16.
That's even worse. My dad took me at me with this little bar.
Little child's bar.
And so far, I would honestly say, as far as having anything in your hand, anything in your pouch, it's always handy to have a little halter mini bar for smaller things like this.
Right, so now that the rip out is done, we always start on our architraves first. I've got to take some measurements so that we can go outside and cut our lengths on the saw. If this was a new frame, we would actually have to set a 6mm margin around it so that our architrave doesn't sit flush with the inside of the door and interrupt how the door opens and closes. Because this is replacing existing, the paint line that's currently on the frame works as the margin, so I'm just going to measure off from that. Once we've actually measured it and got it in place, there is actually a little trick that we like to do on our architraves to make sure that they fit with the skirtings perfectly, but we'll show you that in the next video.
So now we've got our architraves cut and ready to go, I just want to show you what we do when we're connecting our skirting to our architraves. Now the idea is we'll biscuit them, so we'll biscuit the bottom, and this is so that your skirting architrave is always flush. Doesn't always work, so just be careful when you're looking at your frame. If your wall's slightly out and you're having to rebate your architrave, then this won't work. So luckily for us, the wall's flush, the frame's flush, perfect conditions, some would say.
So as you can see there, we have now put the slot for the biscuit in the skirting. This is obviously just a sample piece to show you how it's going to work, but we've also done it in our architrave, and all we do is we place the biscuit in there, and it means that when we fit the skirting to the architrave afterwards, it makes sure that they are perfectly flush at the front and looks the best it possibly can. So this is actually one of the problems that you face with an old door lining. So obviously we've cut this now to 45 degrees as you normally would for a mitre, but at 45 degrees it's actually kicking the bottom of the leg in. So we're gonna have to take a degree off both sides of the mitre to make it fit nice and snug.
Now we know that the joint is perfect, we simply glue the whole of our edge. Now whilst we're waiting for the glue to set, these are always handy to have. These are Colin Spring mitre clamps, and their sole purpose is to clamp this joint together whilst the glue's setting. Okay. So now all we do, simply pin your architraves up, but stay away from the metre height. So obviously when you're drilling out your lock or your latch, you're not going to catch a pin, which I've done a few times. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Give that about 5-10 minutes, sand over, and there you have one complete set of architraves.
Obviously in this case, because we've only got one leg, because the frame is too tight to the wall this size, but obviously just repeat the process all the way around if you've got a normal door frame, which you can obviously put both legs on, and it is quite simply as easy as that. So there we have it, a nice simple installation of how you fit this beautiful Sam Mouldings Taurus architrave.
And one tip not to forget is the old biscuit joint against your skirting in order to keep your skirting and architrave flush.
Thanks for watching, we'll see you again.
See you in the next one.